movie theater butter popcorn. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I know it's movie theater popcorn, but like I don't know if that's the actual name. Movie theater butter. It tastes good. It tastes hella good. You got some? You got some snacks? See, I would share it. Not. I wouldn't share it. I'm not sharing with you, Adam. But I would share with you all if it's possible. But I can't. So I'm sorry. I still love y'all, but I just I can't. I would, but I can't. So hopefully you got your snacks and all your cuddle buddy. Tell your cuddle buddy I said what's up. Though. Sup though. Right? God damn, that shit good. Alright, let's go.
Where I live, we have 3 years of high school, and then it's off to college.
Oh, wow.
So in my first year, me and the antisocial kid in the class became instant best friends. I'm extremely outgoing, and had no trouble at all talking to him, and he and I shared a lot of interests, so we immediately became BFFs.
Alright.
The trouble is, he was not my type. He was cool and all, but if you don't like the person's appearance, there's not much you can do. So naturally, me being a very hyper and cool female that plays video games and watches cool movies or animes or whatever, he fell for me and asked me to be his girlfriend almost immediately.
Wow, nope.
I said no, and told him I was much more comfortable being his friend.
Okay.
I talked to him and explained that he was not my type, to which he'd only reply, "I can try." No, sorry, but no. So the years went by and we became really good friends, despite the fact that he would ask me to be his girlfriend pretty often, like once every 3 months or so.
Nope.
We got to a point where we would play video games all night. He also lived very close by, a couple houses down the block.
Of course he does.
And he would end up staying well after 4 a.m. on school nights. I would tell him I was tired and I wanted to go to bed, and he would just tell me to sleep on the couch and he'd keep playing.
What?
Obviously, I never did such a stupid thing. I'd always tell my dad to help me. He'd be pissed anyways, and he'd kick him out politely, yet friendly. Last year of high school, I cracked though. I thought, hey, we're awesome friends. Where's the harm, right? So the last time he asked, I said yes. Wrong fucking choice.
You fucking bullshitting.
It was one day before school break, so the next day I traveled far, but not without a goodbye kiss, although I hadn't kissed a lot of people back then. This kiss is always going to remain burned in my skull. Whenever someone said he had his tongue down my throat, I always thought it was a bit too ridiculous and exaggerated. Nope, it turns out it's pretty possible. He asked for a kiss, and I reluctantly said yeah, and before I knew it, he was violating my throat, holding me by the arms and just going crazy.
Wow.
I swear, I've never felt so dirty, and not in the good way. So I left after that disaster of a kiss, and when I came back, I got to read my emails, and they were filled with horrible filth. We would joke around and have a disgusting sense of humor, but him saying he couldn't wait to do specific things to my lady parts and horrible graphic things freaked me the fuck out. After reading the emails, I shut down the PC and walked around my house thinking frantically about what to do, when I felt something weird. I walked towards a window and peeked out through the curtains, and there he was, staring at the house, grabbing the front gate.
There it is.
Just blank staring. It was around 2 a.m. or so,
Oh,
and he didn't know I would arrive that day, though the car in the driveway probably gave it away. But I got home pretty early in the afternoon, so he could have visited, but he decided to visit at night, and not even call or knock or anything. He just wanted to stare at the house. He couldn't have seen me through any windows because they all have curtains, and my room is impossible to see into. Anyways, I broke up with him and told him something along the lines of, "Dude, never ever do that to someone when you begin dating. Ever. It's just not right."
Cut him off at the...
But he still went ballistic, saying he didn't want to die a virgin, saying he couldn't wait to have sex with me and crying about it as well.
Oh.
Saying how he was madly in love, how I was perfect, how he waited all this time for me.
Oh.
And, well, he just lost his marbles at this point. I went back to school, and he never showed up again. Teachers began asking questions. I talked to one of them, confided in him more like it. Told him about how he would creep to my house every night and just stand there and stare. Of how he kept messaging me, how he missed me, and how he wanted to fuck me and horrible, disgusting shit like that. That I guess he thought was romance. And the principal heard about it and called me in, and said that his parents had called the school to ask about me, because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I explained the harassment to the principal, who was a woman. She said that he was very sad, and had begun to cut himself all over his arms with a kitchen knife, and how he had destroyed his bedroom in fits of mad anger.
Sad my ass. Sad my ass. Nope, you should have cut him off at the base. Like when y'all first met. Like your very first time you met. I'm pretty good at reading people and like their vibes and their intentions when I first meet them. So it doesn't take me personally, it doesn't take me long to figure out whether or not, we're gonna be friends or we're gonna be somewhat like like a thing or whatever. It doesn't take me long at all. I can honestly say you was 100% bullshitting, because I know for a fact that when you met this boy for the very first time, that something was off. You didn't know what, but something was off. But no, you wanted to give him a chance. Oh, wow. But now that you gave him a chance, he is on your ass, literally. Man. I had a stalker once. I'm gonna talk about that at like the end of the video, but yeah, that was weird. It was weird as hell. But let's get back to the video though.
And how he had stopped eating and a bunch of crap like that.
I don't care.
I answered, well, tough luck. I mean, he's being crazy. That's not my fault.
Right. There you go.
To which he held a phone towards me and said, well, he's been asking to talk to you. Please ask him to come back to school.
No.
I stood there motionless with the phone in my hands and covered the receiver and whispered anxiously, but I don't want to talk to him. And the principal answered, you wouldn't want him to kill himself because of you now, would you? With a shocked expression on her face. That got me to talk to him. I convinced him to go back to school, and overall felt like shit because that insane kid's education was more important than my safety.
I would have been like, sure, he can come back here. He can come back to the school. But you best believe, I'm transferring schools or I'm getting homeschooled. Point blank, period.
They needed to get that poor kid to a psych ward or something. He needed a doctor, but no. Let's ask him to come to school so he can continue harassing you and learning, right? Awesome. I finished my high school very uncomfortably, but I had gotten a good friend of mine to protect me and keep the weirdo at bay. I never saw him again, although my best friend, female, had kept in contact with him. Told me he would say horrible graphic things to her about me. He kept going at it, saying what he wanted to do to me and shit like that. Once I came across him on Facebook, and he asked if I had a BF, which I didn't. He said, Hey, I'm single too. How about we do each other favors?
What?
To which I simply blocked him and forgot about him after that. He appeared out of the blue on my last birthday, last year, after 5 years.
Wow.
He literally just visited so he could talk to me about his sexual encounters and things. My mother let him in the house even though she knew our past. And I was stuck.
So now the mom bullshitting. The mom fucking bullshit. Are you serious? Mommy, come on. You know what we've been through. Are you fucking serious? I don't care if I'm cursing at you. Are you serious? Really? I'm this close. This close to running away. Mom, how could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. I thought you cared about me. I thought you don't fuck with me no more. Really? This much? This much? I was this close. Really? I'm starting to think that you in cahoots with him. I don't even know his name. I'm gonna call him Adam. Just cause. Come on, yo, you can't be doing that, Mom. For real, bruh. You on some bullshit.
Talking to him for 5 hours. I was still super polite and nice. Even though I'm fucking uncomfortable. I'm pretty scared.
You fucking... Oh, well, that was it? Okay.
I'm sorry this story is so long. I've only told a handful of people, and retelling it makes me feel nauseous. This is almost a form of therapy for me, so I hope someone can get something positive out of it. This happened about 3 years ago when I was 16. I had left high school and was working in a hair salon. That's where I met one of my best friends, Adam. Adam's mum lived around the corner from where I grew up and was good friends with my cousin.
What was the name?
Small world, hey? So, one weekend, I went around to his place for a few drinks.
What was the name that they said? Yo, I really hope... I legit didn't hear the name that he said. If it's the name that I think he said, they fucking up. But let me... Hold on. I don't want to rewind it, so I'm gonna pay attention. Because I think they said Adam, but I'm not entirely sure.
I met his mum, who was lovely. She was only 36, really down to earth, and had an aura of motherly love you could trust. We decided to go into town centre for a few beers. In my country, if you're with a parent or a guardian, you can drink legally. We were having an awesome time, blowing off steam after a long week of work and sharing a bit of quality banter. We were at the pub for about an hour when a few of Adam's friends showed up with a girl called
Adam.
Jay.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to sound rude, but when I first met Jay, I honestly thought she was a man. She was very androgynous, with shoulder-length dirty blonde hair, a baggy orange t-shirt that almost came down to her knees, with navy blue cargo pants. This in itself is a crime against fashion, and I remember wondering, not in a mean way, but why she was hanging out with Adam's friends, as they're all massive fashionistas, with barbed tongues and no qualms in calling out fashion disasters. I excused myself to go into the ladies' room, and when I got back, Jay had moved around in the seats, so I would be forced to sit next to her at the end of the table, away from everyone else. No biggie. I'm a social person and always up to make new friends. She sat really close to me, almost rubbing up against me, even though there was a lot of space for her to move over. Red flag number 1. I passed this off as me being on personal space and her being a little tipsy. When she talked, she would lean in really close to my face and breathe stale beer and cigarettes almost directly into my mouth. I asked her to move over a few times, but after a few minutes, she would shift back over and sit next to me.
No, I don't like. I hate that. I hate that, yo. Especially if I don't know you. I can't stand when I don't like when people touch me. I don't know what it is. I just don't. especially if I don't know you. Like, what's the point of you? No, no. Unless I fuck with you hard, pause, then don't be in my bubble. Especially if your breath is kicking. Like, yeah. Especially if you stink too. Like, no. I make sure every time I come out the house, I'm good. Like, my hygiene, everything on me is clean. Cause I'll be damned if somebody tells me, hey bro, you stink. That just killed. Like, I don't think I have ever, not that I can recall, somebody ever saying that to me straight up. And I pray, God forbid that ever happens to me, but how do you even say that to somebody? Like, a person that you know 100% that they stink? How do you say that to, and they don't know that shit? How do you say that to somebody without being rude? Do you just be like, Adam, come here. Come here for a second. Okay, back the fuck up. Look. Okay, just close your mouth because I feel like you're burning my skin with your breath. Look, Adam. I have no easy way to stay the fuck there. Don't move at all, please, because this is hard enough as it is. I don't know how to say this, but you stink. I mean, I'm a very blunt person. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but you stink, bro. Let me be the first one to tell you that you stink. You smell like dude, I don't even know what you smell like. Like, I'm losing my whole concentration because of how bad you stink. Come on, bro. Like, take care of that. Why'd you even come out the house like that? Like, you nasty, you disgusting. You better get the fuck away from my popcorn. I don't know what you thought this was. The fuck? No, Adam. No. Back up. Please, you fucking like, how do you say that? Like, would you say that? I don't know. Like, I'm a nice person. Right? But then again, I'm a blunt person. So, I don't know. How would you go about it? If somebody stink and you know they stink, how would you go about that? Put it in the comment section below. I'm going to tell you straight up that you stink. I don't know. That may be a little bit harsh or a lot harsh. I don't know. But wouldn't you want to know that? I mean, you might be in your feelings. You might be butthurt. But wouldn't you want somebody to tell you that? You know? Just like be like on some real shit. Wouldn't you want somebody to tell you that you stink? Or like you kind of stink or something like that? You know, I would want somebody to tell me I'm going to be butthurt, but I would rather somebody tell me, you know, and then I can do something about it rather than nobody telling me and I'm going through the whole day stinking. What would you say like about that? Like, I don't know.
The conversation was normal, and at this point my creeper radar wasn't dinging.
Right.
She mentioned she was from South Africa and moved here a few years ago with her mother. She told me she was a lesbian and asked if I was too. I told her I was bisexual but was seeing a man. This is when she went off on a big tirade against bisexuals. If you're a bisexual, you'll know what I'm talking about. Either you're actually a lesbian and too scared to come out, or you're actually straight, just experimenting and trying to have the best of both worlds. She took the stance that I was actually a lesbian and didn't know it yet. This really pissed me off. I don't appreciate being told by a stranger what my sexuality is. Thanks. After a few more beers, Adam, his mother, and I decided to head home for a smoke and a movie. I had basically been alienated from the table for the last hour or so I missed out on talking to everyone else. But as it turns out, Adam's friends were going to a party later on and asked if we wanted to come. Neither of us were sure yet, so we agreed to head home, have a shower, and see how we feel. Adam didn't have a cell phone at the time, so I jotted down mine on a piece of paper and handed it to one of the boys. About 5 minutes into the taxi ride, I got a text message. "Are you coming to the party?" We had just agreed to give them a call if we felt like coming later on, so I was a little annoyed with being hounded and didn't text back. 20 minutes later, my phone beeps again. "You're the sexiest woman I have ever met." Whoa. At this point, I still thought it was Adam's friend, the one I actually gave my number to. He's a flaming gay, so naturally I assumed it was a badly placed joke. Whatever. I texted back something like, "Not as sexy as you, Mr. Fabulous Pants." Big mistake. My phone beeped again. "It was nice meeting you. I want to see you again. Right now. Love, Jay."
Love? Nope.
It was Jay. Fuck. Up until this point, I had just put everything down to cultural differences, but now I was feeling really uncomfortable. I didn't text back after that, even though I received about 20 messages along the lines of, "Where are you? Why aren't you texting back? I have to see you right now. Where the fuck are you? Seriously, text me back right now." I showed Adam and his mum the text, and we all agreed the best thing I could do was to ignore the texts and hope she gives up. I turned off my phone, and after that, there was no way I was in the mood to go anywhere. We stayed in, had another few beers, and watched the movie. Cut to a few days later, and I was at a work function/party, when I get a call from an unknown number. I answered, thinking it might be a client. A lot of my boss's clients work really late, so they often call in to book after hours. As her assistant, it's my job to take her calls. They're rich and can spend about $500 on a hair color in one sitting, so it's in the business's interest to take these calls. The woman on the other end asked if she could have a date. I had almost forgotten about Jay, and nothing the person on the phone said seemed out of the ordinary. Just asking if she could book in a date to be serviced. "Of course you can. What's your name and number?" "It's Jay, and I need to see you now. I love you, and I need you." I hung up the phone immediately and ran into the bathroom, bursting into tears. Having a mini panic attack in the middle of a very important work function, mascara streaming down my face was not a good look for the salon or my career. I collected myself, turned my phone off, and was determined to power through the evening. No crazy bitch was going to stop me being awesome at my job. I'm strong, fabulous, career-orientated woman. Fabulous, I say. Cut to the end of the evening. I was still a little shaken up, but had mostly forgotten about the incident. I asked a co-worker to drop me off at the train station, so I didn't have to walk in the dark by myself. I'm fabulous, but not stupid. She dropped me off one street over, and as I went across the road, guess who came out of the bushes? That's right, motherfucking Jay. It's not even an exaggeration. She was sitting in the bushes, waiting for me to come to the train station. I only froze for half a second before I started power walking towards the train. I ran across the road, almost getting my dumbass hit, but I was too scared to look both ways, all the while being highly aware of the shrieking coming from behind me. "I love you," it shouted. "I won't let you go. I need to know you love me. I will make you love me." I was at my wit's end. I had no idea what to do. I certainly wasn't going to let her follow me on the train. There was no way I was going to be in a confined space with this she-devil. and there was absolutely no way I was going to let her follow me home. I sprinted to the ticket booth and started screaming between my sobs that I was being followed and to call the police. I made a complete spectacle of myself. People were looking and the ticket officer was trying to calm me down. The poor man pulled me into his office, made me a cup of tea while I waited for the police. They showed up after about 10 minutes and I told them everything and showed them the text messages. There was about 50 more since I turned off my phone at the function. I couldn't even bring myself to read them, and the police officer told me that it was probably a good idea. Since she hadn't physically hurt me, the police told me there was not a lot they could do, but file a restraining order. I didn't know her last name, her address, or what she did. I couldn't even be sure Jay was her real name. Her number was prepaid, so there was no more information from her from that avenue. Dead end. The police drove me home and told me to give them a call if anything else happens. I didn't sleep that night. I changed my phone number and asked for a few days off work. My boss was really understanding and I spent 2 days locked in my room with a giant tub of ice cream, trying to process and understand that this had happened. Skip to a week later and I get a call from the police to come down to the station. They had arrested a woman who had claimed I was her girlfriend and I would bail her out of the cells. She had given my old cell phone number for them to call. It was Jay. Someone had called in about a suspicious-looking man hanging around the station, accosting and threatening other patrons and defecating on the platform. Of course, it wasn't a man, it was Jay. In her bag, they found a knife, some meth, and letters written in blood. I was told she was on parole for beating her ex-girlfriend nearly to death and was heading back to jail. I've since moved from that town, changed my name, not because of this incident, and changed professions, but I'm still terrified that one day when she gets out, she will find me again, and I might end up like her ex-girlfriend, beaten nearly to death.
All I gotta say about this, story number 2, bitch, I don't love you.
Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Sorry if I mess up the format. I'm usually really safe when it comes to accepting friend requests, when it comes to Facebook. Let's just say I made a huge mistake. One day, I got home from school, logged into Facebook, and saw a friend request. It was from a kid who was widely known at my school. He was mentally retarded, and also had at least 100 mutual friends as me, so I accepted. He starts talking to me instantly. It was pretty normal conversation. Hey, what's up? Same, etc. This guy is also very large, 300 to 400 pounds and 6 feet tall, not exaggerating, and is also 7 years older than me.
Damn.
I was 14 and 5'3" when this happened. He started to talk to me every day, having pretty normal conversations.
I'm sorry, I'm horrible at math. You're 14, 7 years older. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
21. 21.
No. Talking to a 14. I'm not saying, I don't want to say it, but I think it is. I see some pedophilia going on right now, some pedophile shit. 14.
$21.
14. You just, depending for the average person, you start develop your body.
21.
You either finished developing or you're about to finish developing. 14. You watching What do 14-year-olds watch nowadays? Because what I watched when I was 14 is totally different from what 14-year-olds watch now. You can't even drive yet. You're in the back seat. You probably still sit in the back seat.
21.
You drinking. You driving. I'm not saying you drinking and driving, but you can drink. You can drive. You're in the front seat. 14, you're in the back seat. 14. You're probably in ninth grade. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, you're in the ninth grade.
21.
You're in college. Or doing some grown-up shit. You have no business. No business. Talking. I've cut people off on Snapchat because they was too young. I'm 24. And I feel really uncomfortable when I talk to when I hold a conversation with somebody that's I don't know. I've talked to people, not anymore, but I've talked to people that's I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And I told them flat out, I don't feel comfortable talking to you. You just need to do some kid shit. And I need to do some grown-up shit. A 24-year-old doesn't look right talking to a 12, 13-year-old kid. That's all I'm saying. But hey, that's just me. You do you, You want to be 30 and talking to a 17, 16-year-old kid? Cool. That's not cool, but I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that this is just, no.
After a while, I would stop answering back because I'd be busy or something, and he would get pretty mad.
Why?
I didn't want to be rude, so I'd try to be as nice as I could and answer back. He then says, "You go to insert school here, right?" I didn't want to answer because even though he goes there also, it just didn't feel right. He messaged me again saying, "I know you do. I've seen you. I see you every day, man. You're pretty."
No.
I stopped talking to him from then on, but he'd still message me despite the fact that I wouldn't answer. I would see him more and more in the halls, and it got to the point where he'd be sitting there waiting for me to get off the bus and stare me down.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. They're 7 years apart. Why are they still in the same? I'm really confused. Why are they still in the same? How are they still in the same school? What the hell? This shit cannot be an American. This shit is not. No. You can't be 14 and somebody being 21 in the same. No, that doesn't make any sense. Unless I missed it. I missed something. But something just not. It's not. Wow, it's not adding up to me.
I tried to ignore it the best I could. I'd see him in the halls and he'd just stare at me. I deleted him off of Facebook when I got home from school, but he would still manage to send me chat messages. It became so persistent that I just ignored it. One day, I was staying at the school a little late to hang out with my friends, and one of my friends was talking about some guy who apparently threatened to shoot up the school. I asked him why the school didn't do anything about it, like the usual evacuation. He said that the kid was mentally unstable, and there was no reason to because they thought he'd calm down and not go through with it. I started to panic, and I asked them who it was, and sure enough, it was the same person that had been creeping on me. I told them what was happening, and they started freaking out too, and told me to check my messages when I got home. When I got home, I read all the messages he had sent me. It started out like this. "You're so pretty. Why are you so pretty? Where were you today?" And then advanced to this. Will you go to prom with me? I bought you a ticket. Please go with me.
You gotta be stupid to
Will
go.
you go out with me? And then finally, turned into this. Fine, don't answer me, you fucking whore. I'm gonna rip your head off. And it just got more and more violent. He'd also post on my wall saying extremely inappropriate things, talking about sex and killing people. I didn't go to school the next day. I told my mom about it, and she had me print it out and go to the school with it. My mom drove me to school and we went straight to the guidance counselor. When she read what he was saying to me, she even started to freak out. She tried her best to make it so he couldn't be in the same hallway as me. This worked out for about 3 months, but the last week of school it started up again. I got off the bus and he'd be sitting there waiting for me. He then followed me into school and followed me around the school. He even waited outside my classroom for me to finish my exams. I asked one of my friends if he could watch out for me, because the guy was following me again. The last day of school finally ended, and I didn't have to deal with him for about 2 months. School finally started back up again. After a couple of panic attacks, I found out he had been arrested, and was now going to a school for very troubled kids.
A little background on me. When this happened, I was about 6 foot tall and had a quite broad figure due to me playing rugby quite a lot. A little background on Lucas. When this happened, he was about 5 foot 5 inches tall and very slim and had the cutest face I'd ever seen. In high school, there was a guy who I found extremely attractive and cute. I'll call him Lucas for now. At the time, I was 16 and so was he. He was in a few of my classes, maybe 3 or 4. I'd always wanted to talk to him and get to know him, but with me being in the closet, the massive fear of rejection, and not knowing whether he was gay either, I decided to just admire him from afar rather than to pursue him. As time went by throughout the term, I started to notice him staring at me more and more in the classes we had together. At first, I was happy he noticed me, to be honest, but it started to make me feel uncomfortable and self-conscious. I pretended not to notice since it would have been embarrassing for both of us if we made eye contact during him staring. Half-term came around, a 2-week break if you don't know what it is, and I wasn't thinking much about Lucas at this point. We came back to school, and in our psychology class, we paired for group activities and sat next to each other. I didn't really know how I felt about it. We didn't talk for the first few lessons, but when group activities and case study practicing came around, it was a must. On our first activity, I started the talking. He reacted normally, but being close to him made my heart pound like crazy because he was exactly my type and even cuter up close. A few lessons passed of us normally talking about the work, when, out of the blue, he asked for my number. I was pretty much in shock. I asked for what reason, and he replied, "Just curious, you don't have to give it." I, of course, gave it to him. By this point, I had completely forgotten about how strange his staring was from when he used to sit away from me. As soon as school ended, he began to text me normally, asking how I was, etc. The only thing I found strange was how fast his replies were, even if mine were a few minutes late. Lucas didn't have Facebook or any other social media, and whenever I saw him around school, he was alone reading old or tatty books. This began to raise the courage within me to ask if he was gay or not, considering how interested he was in me. I waited for a good opportunity to ask. After I sent this text, it was about 2 minutes before I got a response. I did notice this because the latest any of his other replies were only about 10 seconds. No exaggeration. His reply was, "Yes. Does that bother you?" I decided to tell him I was too in the heat of the moment, and that I was truly happy that he was willing to be open with it with me, and I thought I should do the same. He replied with, "Oh, cool," with a smiley face. This is where things took a turn. He began to send 5 or more text messages in a row about where I was, or whether I wanted him to go away, etc., if I didn't reply after about 5 minutes or so. But after I replied, he would go back to being sweet and friendly. Half term came once again, and I was ready to start hitting parties. One night, I left for a party with my phone, but realized the plug to the charger hadn't been inserted, so it was dead. I didn't realize this until the car ride to the party though. I forgot about it and drank until I became tipsy. The party finished, and I walked home with some good friends for part of the journey, but had to follow a path through a reasonably small woods. I didn't even think of being scared, since I'd done it a million times before during the night. But less than halfway across the path, I heard someone whispering in a bush right beside where I needed to walk.
No, you didn't, bitch.
I truly felt my heart clench. I tried not to react much because I didn't want them to realize I was there. The whispering was repetitive and getting louder. I was contemplating what to do. Do I turn back or try to get past without this guy noticing? I had to make a split-second decision and thought it would have been dumb of me to walk all this way and turn back over maybe some harmless man, etc.
Harmless man? No.
I still attempted to walk by without them hearing me. As I was walking, the whispering stopped. The leaves began to rustle, but slowly, as if something was moving slowly inside the bush. I should have begun to run at that point, but I was frozen in fear of the unknown. I had no idea what was in that bush. It was too clear to me that the thing had noticed me. I remember the overwhelming feeling of hesitation to run, fearing that it would cause it to lunge at me. I waited for about 10 seconds after the rustling, and I stood there. A black figure arose slowly, wearing a black hoodie with the hoodie covering the moonlight from reaching its face. It was quite short and slim, so I didn't think I'd have a problem taking it on. But it lifted its arm, revealing a kitchen knife covered in red liquid that seemed to be blood. The mere sight of this sent me into panic, and I began to sprint straight home. I looked back, and the figure was out in the path, stood so I could see its whole figure. When I reached home, I didn't take a second to breathe and woke my parents up to tell them what happened. My dad called the police whilst I was looking through the blinds in our kitchen discreetly to see whether anyone was out there. The next morning, we were told nothing was found, but they would look into it. I'd checked my phone since I'd been away from it for a while. I had over 200 messages from Lucas, explaining how if he couldn't have me, no one could. He then went on to say how he knew my route home, and he'd be waiting to show me how much he was devoted to me. I was freaked out, and I decided to show the messages to my parents, and they gave the information to the police. The first day back at school, he wasn't in. The same happened for the next few weeks. No one really noticed though, because he didn't have any friends. I never asked my parents what happened to him since it was a very difficult time. The messages were how they found out I was gay, so I don't talk about it much. After asking the teachers if they knew anything, I noticed they all became clammy when the situation popped up and avoided answering at all costs. I decided not to ask anymore because it seemed to make everyone uncomfortable, and to be honest, I wasn't sure if I wanted to know what happened to him. I'll never know whose blood was on that knife, or whether it was even blood. If so, I assume it was his own. I am now 20 and in university. To me now, this is a distant memory.
What's up, guys? Blue Spooky here.
I jumped a
As
little
always,
bit. Did you see that?
I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far to the end of the video. I would also like to give a special thanks to my guest narrator this episode, the Grim Reader. I'll have a link to his stuff in the description below. If you liked his narration here, you can go ahead and click the link down there and check out more on his channel. If you liked the video, please feel free to leave a comment and or leave a like and share if you feel so inclined. If you have a personal story you'd like to send in, links to all of my social media will be in the description below. This includes Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter. go ahead and send me a message on any of those, and I'll try to include your story in a video as soon as possible. And if you do decide to send a story in, please feel free to include in the tagline what the story is about and how you would like to be credited if the story is used in a video sometime. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Oh no, I'm showing you this stuff. Okay. I got some talking to do. First of all, this is gonna be a long ass video. I haven't done a long ass video in a while. When I say a long ass video, I mean like coming close to an hour or over an hour. But I guess I'll start with this. Fuck all stalkers. Fuck them. With the utmost respects, obviously. Right? But I've had one stalker in my whole life. I've only had one. And I was in 10th grade. I remember this so vividly, bruh. Like, she was harmless, but she was weird at the same time. So I don't know what made her so stalkerish, but yeah, I was in 10th grade in high school. She was a lot shorter than me. And I can honestly say that when I was in high school, I was an ugly motherfucker. But yeah, so I didn't see back then. I still don't see, like, up until, like, once I think about it, I don't know what made her so attracted to me. Or, right, did I say that right? Or why she was attracted to me. I don't know if I said that right. Like, she was attracted to me, but I don't know why. I was ugly as shit. But, she was an adorable girl. But every time we had class, and sometimes, just sometimes, outside of class, but no, it happened mostly in class, she would stare at me. Don't you know how some guys out there, I'm talking to you, don't you know how some females, when they like you, they would look at you in a certain way, like you know, like they like you. You know, they find you attractive. They would look at you a certain way. I'm not going to imitate it, but y'all fellas, y'all know what I'm talking about. Females will look at you a certain way if they like you. She did that and some. You know, like, she would look at, like, she would dead ass stare at me in a creepy ass way. And this is how I know she would stare at me. Like, I would look at her, look away. Look at her, look away. Look at her, look away. I would move, she would move. I would move, she would move. I would move, and she would move. But yeah, like, it shit was weird, man. It was so weird. And I don't know what made her act like that. And it's like no matter where I was, she was always right there. Almost within arm's reach. You know how close that shit is? Really fucking close. And it would be in the arts class too. I forgot her name. If I knew her name, or if I remembered her name, I would definitely put her on blast. You best believe that. But I for the life of me, cannot remember her name. But yeah. That was so weird, man. And like, yo, man, it's like, and it got to the point every time we had class, she would stare at me. She would literally follow me everywhere I would go in class, and sometimes out of class. She would be a lot cuter. She was cute, but she would be a lot cuter if she wasn't on some stalker shit. Like if she was just a normal girl, I would have found her attractive. You know? But come on, you can't be doing that. Now maybe I said something or I did something for her to act like that. I don't really recall, but nevertheless, like females, guys, whoever, anybody that's watching this video, know if you like somebody, don't be on some stalker shit. Like for real. That's how you scare. That's how you scare them away. That's how you scare your crush away or the person that you feeling. That's how you scare them away. Some of them. I don't know. Some people, I guess, like that stalker shit. And if you do, you're weird. Excuse me, but if anybody, like I said, that's only happened to me once. Physically, like in person. I've had a couple of stalkers online, like on Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram. I've had a couple of stalkers or people like acting weird or like not going away. And that's when I just either blocked you. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I blocked you. But if anybody out there has some stalker stories, like legit, don't make this shit up. But if you got some like legit stalker stories, let me know that. Put it in the comment section below because I will be looking at the comments. But yeah. And just because a person doesn't seem like a stalker, like a stalker at all, like they seem completely fine, normal in the beginning of the relationship, people change. People change fast as a motherfucker. Like the person that you like could be normal, could be fine, nothing wrong with them, right? At all. But the second you get into that relationship, and it's like it's set in stone, like y'all going out, y'all boyfriend and girlfriend, oh man, she or he could change up in an instant. That person can go from normal to no stalker shit to, oh word, we boyfriend and girlfriend now, we going out. For real? Yeah, honey. This is a thing. This is a legit. Bitch, let me get your phone. I'm following you everywhere you go. I don't know what you thought this was. Right. Keep. Movie theater butter popcorn. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I know it's movie theater popcorn. Movie theater butter popcorn. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I know it's movie theater popcorn. movie theater butter popcorn. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I know it's movie theater popcorn, but like I don't know if that's the actual name. Movie theater butter. It tastes good. It tastes hella good. You got some? You got some snacks? See, I would share it. I wouldn't share it. I'm not sharing with you, Adam. But I would share with you all if it's possible. But I can't. So I'm sorry. I still love y'all, but I can't. I would, but I can't. So hopefully you got your snacks. Movie theater butter popcorn. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I know it's movie theater popcorn, but like I don't know if that's the actual name. Movie theater butter. It tastes good. It tastes hella good. You got some? You got some snacks? See, I would share it. I wouldn't share it. I'm not sharing with you, Adam. But I would share with you all if it's possible. But I can't. So I'm sorry. I still love y'all, but I can't. I would, but I can't. So hopefully you got your snacks and or your cuddle buddy. Tell your cuddle buddy I said what's up. SupTho. Right?